and good morning. Today's mini lecture is going to be, it's going to be on a simple couple of ideas, concepts, and then of course some simple solutions, some disciplines. Are you sick of being sick? Okay? Are you sick of being sick and tired? Are you tired of being sick and tired? These are all questions that you can ask yourself, because most people are tired of being sick and tired because they've had it for such a long time. Now, if we look at the State of the Union, and that's just basically the health of people and animals, but let's just look at people, we'll find out that they're not too healthy. Not a bit. So, what's the big problem with all the sickness, with all the mental dysfunction, with the emotional dysfunction? What's the problem? Okay, so we never can see the problem until we really find out why we're tired of being sick and tired, which means you've had it for a long time, versus you're just sick and tired, which just means you're just getting it right now. You're just getting the disease. Okay, and this disease, remember, is rampant throughout the United States and other countries, but we're just talking about the United States right now. So if you could find out about how do I relieve, okay, or change my tired of being sick and tired attitude and feeling, then, it's time to give it not a try, but experiment with 180 days of terrain modifying yourself. And terrain modification is what I call an antidote to sickness of many types. An antidote. Why? It's not curing any disease. We're not talking about that. Okay? That's a disease in its own self. What we're talking about is changing, upgrading, enhancing, and optimizing different departments that we all occupy on this planet all the time. It does take education, and it's not education like you think, it's re-education. Remember, we all are doing the best we know how to do. And since we're, 100 million diabetics, 100 million obese people, 50 million people on antidepressants, okay, a lot of problems, a lot of cancer, a lot of just people not feeling good, irritable bowel syndrome, gas, stomach problems, just dysfunction, okay? Being overweight is a dysfunction. So once we see all these different problems, then we find out real easy. We got to make a change. We have to make a change. So before you get sick, okay, even if you're sick and tired right now, and you're tired of being sick and tired, you're not sick, okay, with the big C. You're not sick with some type of incurable disease, and maybe you are. Maybe that you're on 5 different medications, or you're just starting your first one, and then you're going to be on 2, and then you're going to be on 3. You didn't change your diet, you didn't cut out your toxicity, and plus you didn't deaccumulate the debris that you've accumulated in your body, in your mind, and of course, don't forget about the emotional body. That's one of the biggest knots people have: stress, relationships, toxicity, deficiencies. Okay, remember, insanity is only doing the same thing over and over and over, and you're not really changing anything as far as optimization. Remember, life is a journey. It's of 1,000 steps. Either way, you can go 1,000 steps the wrong way, or you can start your journey of going the 1,000-step journey the right way. So it's really easy to be able to, baby steps at a time, upgrade, enhance, and optimize as much as you can. Okay? It is a new lifestyle, for sure. It's not going to be easy, but it's not going to be hard either. And after a while, I guarantee you, it'll be fun. Why? Because it's working. It's working. And again, you may want to ask your doctor if you can get healthy. And how are you going to get healthy? He's going to ask you, how are you going to get healthy? Well, I'm going to stop poisoning myself. I'm going to stop eating GMOs. I'm going to stop putting chemicals in my body, okay? Not only through my food, but through my water supply. I'm not going to put them through my personal care products anymore. And I'm going to start eating real food. No more fast food. Just going to change my life. And he's going to say, okay, well, tell me how it goes. And you would think, remember that, and it's not all doctors. I find this pretty much in the Western medicine side of the fence. If you get any type of sickness, they're only there to dole out pharmaceuticals. They really don't know anything about nutrition. And plus, they're a pretty sickly bunch anyways when you look at them. Most of the medical doctors, most of the physicians, the psychiatrists, they're not really healthy. It's because they're not playing the game that what I call is holistic. Naturopathic doctors, if I have to go ahead and name one, I would say they've got more of a holistic approach. Okay, more. We use a naturopathic, several doctors at our Hawaiian detoxification rejuvenational retreat to reset your body, reset your mind, and disconnect from the parasites that are controlling everyone, that have no idea that this is happening. So we do this medically supervised, and it's what we call block fasting with many different integrative cutting edge protocols. By themselves, they're not cutting edge, but when you put them all together under the protocols, and you volunteer to dry yourself out. And then when you do, well, the first thing you notice is clarity. The second thing you notice after about a 7-day dry water fast is you find out that, well, you don't really need food right now. Okay? And if you can go one more day longer than that, then it's like doing the 7 days all over again. And if you do start to feed, you're not going to feed with the simple foods, the simpleton foods, the mundane foods, the minion foods that you were eating before. Okay? You're not going to refeed with anything that is not heirloom, no GMO. Okay? You're going to try to eat as much live food as you can, and you're going to refeed with ferments, refueling the gut wall flora, the military of your body, to be able to actually start to function correctly. And once you find out that that's pretty much one of the most important parts of your body you want to keep healthy, then you better take the mercury fillings out of your mouth. If not, you're swallowing mercury vapor. How do you think you're going to grow a good colony of good bacteria? You're not going to grow anybody but bullies. It's just what it is. Okay? Remember, there's about 50 departments of terrain modification. How do you make your own bacteria? Okay, you start out with a culture, and then what you do is you never use that culture again. All you're going to do is replicate it. You're going to be a farmer. You're going to learn how to be efficient in growing not just food in your garden. That's another thing too. But you're going to grow ferments on your counter. We go over this in Earther Academy, and I do have a lot of videos on YouTube. Dr. Robert Cassar, fermented drinks, fermented veggies, probiotics, and so forth. But then again, once you get serious, you're going to start fasting. Once you start fasting, then you'll start to really, well, find out that it works. Okay, intermittent fasting. I'm just writing a book right now on a handbook on your first baby step in the journey of 1,000 miles. Okay, it's life. But a lot of times, remember, we took the wrong path. So we have to backpedal. I had to backpedal about 45 years worth of accumulated garbage. Again, not only in my body, but in my mind and in my emotional body, and had to rebuild my nervous system. I did. Sorry about the big lump on my head. I just went ahead and I ran into a pole and really cut up my face here, swollen eyeball. So, life is but a dream, okay? You got to learn how to dream the dream that you feel that you should be dreaming, instead of the dream that everybody else wants you to dream. Okay? Evolution means that you're going to be creative, and creative is very smart. Why? Is because most likely you haven't been too creative before. Why? Is because the body has to be at a certain vibration for it to be able to go ahead and start to create. So once the body's cleaned up somewhat, then it's time to be able to re-establish new information in your mind, so you know where you're going and what you're doing is correct. Remember, what you're trying to do is just clean up your act. How you do it, that's another story. Wanting to do it, that's the first step. Just wanting to see what happens to any of us if we just clean up our act. Okay? Learning how to clean your skin is not even, I mean, that's like the simplest thing anybody can do, and the most profound thing anybody can do. Most profound. So we're starting a radio show weekly, Rethinking Reality with Dr. Robert Cassar. And all we're going to do is rethink some realities. We're going to turn into a new, not authority, but we're going to actually study what the authorities have told us. It's called being a revisionist. And a revisionist is a person who starts to revision, okay? Like disclosure, to be able to see what has been hidden before, okay? Certain types of activities that we are having at this time are the Earth humans, the surface population, the non-authoritative layer, are actually researching everything that they've been told from the authoritative level. It's just part of the revealing. The people are gonna actually wake up and, well, become a revisionist. They're gonna look into a lot of the factors that we've been told is because there is a better way than what we have been, well, sold down the line to become destructive, parasitic beings, not on ourselves, not only on nature, but on the planet in whole. We have been destructive massively just over the last 100 years. I have the window shut in here in the air. I have a fan going in here right now, so what happens is I'm breathing positive ions, and this is a booby trap, letting in some fresh air. If I don't shut the windows, you can't hear me because I'm in the big kids truck, big wheels. So remember, it's up to you. It's self-responsibility is what it takes to be able to engage in just something that's simple and rudimentary. It just is. Okay, rudimentary. Well, it is once you get into it, but, well, if you're not into it, then, well, it's over your head. Remember, we're all doing the best we know how to do, so let's try to go ahead and work with each other and see what others are doing in many different areas. And some of us, like I said, are looking through history to find the truth. Okay? Some of us are looking at politics to find the truth. Some of us are looking at, well, science to find the truth. And all I can tell you is if you want to see some truth, the number one thing you have to do is clean up your body and really honor the experience that you're having right now. Cleaning up your body. What a thing. You've owned a body. You really haven't done any maintenance on it at all. Have you? No. Okay, and if you have, it's been very minimal. You put air in the tires in your car maybe, and you wash the windshield a few times. Okay? But you've never done an overhaul. You've never really changed the filters on your car. We're talking your body. So if that makes sense to you, then you should wonder, are you ready for a tune-up? Because you've got buildup. Okay? Everybody's got buildup. Remember, there's 100 million diabetic people in the United States. 100 million. Can't even imagine that. And then again, 100 million obese people. And if you're got any body fat on you, that's a form of sickness, inflammation, a form of yeast, mold, fungus, candida, accumulation, okay, colonization, and dysfunction. And if you think having body fat is normal, then you know what? Then keep it. If you think eating meat is okay, then go ahead and eat dead cadaver, dead flesh, dead carcass, drink blood. Okay? Go ahead. And one of these days, when you start to become more aware, more conscious, you'll find out that you don't need to kill anything to stay alive. You just don't. And if anybody tells you that you do, you know that's just a complete lie. And if they do argue with you about that you need to kill something to stay alive with a face, then, well, all you should do is laugh at them, is because that's not true. That is not. That's a complete lie. It's as the old saying is, it's a bald-faced lie. Okay, it just is. I'm not going to get into it. If you think you need to kill to stay alive, then, well, in time, the law of the circle, the parasites that you eat out of the flesh, and the misery from the suffering animals that you're eating, that do not need to be not only murdered or killed, and you'll get this in time, but you are eating their misery. You're eating their program, that they've been living in a cage suffering. Do you think they're living in paradise? No, they're living in the most obscene conditions. Obscene. Watch the movie Earthlings and watch it. And if you don't walk out of that movie, and again, remember, watch the whole thing and don't say a word. And if you don't walk out of that movie feeling disgusted on what we're doing to the nature world, then you've got a problem. You don't feel for the animals. You don't feel for the animals. Okay? Cutting their throats. Okay? As the kosher way of humanely. There is no humane way to kill anything. And again, why do you need to sacrifice another living sentient with eyes, nose, mouth, having an experience just like you, that has feelings, okay, that is sentient, which means that basically it's having an experience with higher level of intelligence than a plant. The plants, remember, are our connection to the earth. The plants are here to be able to feed us. They're our symbiotic, perfect relationship. As we breathe their oxygen that they put out, okay, and we breathe the oxygen in, we exhale our exhaust, which is oxygen, but we also use some of the oxygen and we throw out carbon dioxide. And they take our carbon dioxide and they take that as their fuel and they turn it back into oxygen. What a beautiful thing. And the connections that we have to do with connecting into the plants. The plants have all of our connections that we need. Some of the plants are nutritional, some of the plants are medicinal, and some of the plants are pharmacological. Yes, they are. You're not supposed to say that because you get in trouble, but plants, okay, food is thy medicine and medicine is thy food. Food is thy nutrients and nutrients is thy food. Okay? It's just what it is. Food is my pharmacopoeia and pharmacopoeia is my food, depending on what time you eat, what type you eat. So, again, I'm not trying to push you into anything. You should be logical and smart enough now to navigate before you do get sick, before you do wind up having a deficiency that's like, you know, trying to fix a car after you've never done one bit of maintenance and it's 25 years old. Maybe it's 35 years old. Maybe you're 40 years old. You haven't done any maintenance to your car. None. Okay? Besides eat. Besides maybe exercise a little bit when you were younger. Now you sit in a chair 9.5 hours a day and your mind is filled full of concepts, beliefs, disciplines, and a lot of different things that just don't serve it anymore. So when you clean the body, you'll make space for the mind and you'll be able to absorb new information. You'll have a greater form of discretion. Okay, why? Because you'll be clear of the mind. And discretion means you can connect the dots. And connecting the dots means that now that you'll have some knowledge. You'll have some knowledge. And of course, once you get knowledge, then all you have left to do is practice the knowledge. Prove it so. Prove it. Investigate it deeper. And once you do and find out, the knowledge becomes experiential wisdom. And that's where I've got 35 years of experiential wisdom and detoxification and regeneration in many different areas and departments. And all I'm doing is sharing these ideas, disciplines, and concepts, and it's giving you a base to start at. It's giving you a base. Take it from here, guys. Remember, it's all a work in progress. And if this can bring you up 4 or 5 grades, then learn some of the protocols. Practice them. See if they're going to be your truths, and when they do, which they will be, then it's up to you to volunteer. It's your moral obligation to be able to share what would help someone else. That's where I'm at. It's my moral obligation to share with those that are adults, but most of them are children because they don't understand. They don't comprende. Okay, and it takes a lot of connecting the dots to comprende, because again, you have to re-educate yourself. And it is a big responsibility, like raising a child. Well, you're going to raise your own self. You're going to raise the child that you are, that I used to be, and I'm going to turn myself into an elder, more of an adult. I'm going to get wiser. Wise because I'm going to backpedal. Wise means that the mistakes that you made are now going to be actually, well, made up, and you're going to change your ways to a better way. Again, what's wrong with that? But ask your doctor if you could get healthy. Ask him or her. Good question. Do you want to get healthy? Ask your doctor. Why? It's because your doctor's going to say, well, how are you going to do that? That's the best part. Again, not bagging on doctors, just really discouraged that they don't help people with their diets. At least most don't. And most doctors are in sad shape. They are. They're very unphysical. Their bodies, they may be intellects, but they're not intellectual. Okay, all you can do is know that by just looking at their, not degrees on the wall, but their pedigree, their body. So next time you go to your doctor, not only ask them if you can get healthy, but ask them how healthy are they. And you just ask them, take your clothes off for me. Don't worry, remember, it's just a medical experiment. Okay, and the only reason why you're at the doctor's office is because you took your clothes off and you gave yourself an examination, and you found out that body fat and wrinkles and all these things, okay, losing your hair, are dysfunctions of toxicity, parasites, and a lot of different departments that, well, you're wanting to know the truth and you want to know the secret. So can you take off your clothes, Mr. and Mrs. Doctor, and show me that your pedigree shows me that your degree has some form of essence? And we're not talking, we're just making a parable about this. Okay? Emergency medicine, I worked in the hospital for several years, and the number one department, if I was going to work in the hospital again, would be the emergencies, because they do save lives. The other ones, I'm disappointed in them. It's a business, and their arms and legs are tied to the protocols that the system says you can only do. Remember, no changing diets, no colon hydrotherapy, no herbs, only synthetics. Nothing that would be natural. Nothing. I don't see a alkalization department in the hospital. I don't see a detoxification department in the hospital. I don't see, well, many departments in the hospital except for managing and finding out what kind of symptoms make sense to a thick book called a physician's desk reference. And another one, which is to be able to label you with a disease so they can bill the insurance. Okay, there's some pretty crazy diseases, okay? Pretty crazy diseases that even psychiatrists have that you know, you can't bill the insurance company unless you can come up with a diagnosis. And your diagnosis has to fit into one of the floor plans. Okay, one of the floor plans. And the floor plans, of course, are one of the diagnosis of pigeonholes, is what I wanted to find out. You know, a simple word, it's a pigeonhole. Okay, so they can look and see what they think it is. Remember, it's a prescription. RX means prescription, and that means recipe. So it's called practicing for a reason. So practice yourself. Practice yourself. Become your own doctor and engage. Learn now before you get sick. Learn. Anyways, that's enough. I hope that we can stimulate you to want to learn a lot of information that is not available It's not available from the authoritative level. Remember, the system wants you to keep you a sheeple. It just does. It wants to keep you a sheeple, which means that you do what you're told, which of course you should anyways, but then again, you should have morals not to do what you don't need to do either. And you're watered, you're fed. Groceries magically show up in the store. Go into any store and magically everything's there. Okay, what a magical place. We've become sheeple. So I think we should start a commerce of like-minded people, and we should start trading supplies with each other instead of buying them from China and buying them from places that aren't local, that aren't working with the other people that have the same mindset. Remember, all conventional foods, it's all made to make money. Anything you buy in a box is made to make money. It just is. Unless it's specially packaged, unless it's really, heirloom foods and mineralized and non-radiated, well, you're buying is just fake food. Just telling you. You'll wake up to that, you'll see. And there's hundreds of documentaries you're going to want to see to help you make decisions. Again, don't base your decisions based on what I'm telling you. I'm going to guide you in a few different ways. It's up to you to feel that this is something you want to do and try. And once you do, give it a try. 180 days. Give it a try. And all I can do is guarantee you, is because this is what's happened to tens and hundreds of thousands of people around the planet. Learning terrain modification protocols has, well, saved some people's lives, but we won't go that far because I don't want to get in trouble. But you're saving your own life from the future of a suffering life. That's what you're doing. You're saving your own life from the future and or the current suffering life that you have. Why? Because you're going to start getting more reasonable and logical and being more natural. No synthetics, hormones, antibiotics, chemicals. You're just changing your world. So start it up, baby steps at a time. Take your first step. And if you're a woman, okay, and you're the family matriarch, then it's your duty to be able to see if some of this stuff works. And once it does, what do? Bring it into your household. Buy the things you need to buy. You're the one that buys all the stuff. Okay, if dad buys all the stuff, he's just going to buy what he likes, and most likely not as smart as moms. So they're going to buy a bunch more junk. So be the matriarch, and if you're the father of the house and the matriarch is not really willing to do this, then you take control. Someone's got to take control. Someone has. Okay? So it's up to you. It's your responsibility, and it will be your responsibility. You'll find out when you get sick. Because let me tell you, if you put the responsibility on the intellectual world, okay, you're going to find out it's not as intellectual as you think. It does have intellect. You bet it's smart. But it's not intellectual. It's not going to give you the holistic picture. Okay, aloha, and have a good day. And do something for yourself in nature, because it's something that we all need. Balance yourself in nature. All right, aloha.
Important reminder: all information and ideas are for informational purposes only and are in no way intended as medical advice or as a substitute for medical counseling. Earthshift Products, Dr. Robert Cassar, all of their partners, affiliates, and subsidiaries will not be held accountable for the use or misuse of the information presented therein. This information is not intended as medical advice. The authors, publishers, and speakers of this work are not medical doctors and do not recommend the use of mineral-deficient foods, drugs, or medicines to achieve beauty and to alleviate health challenges. Because there is always some risk involved, all persons involved with the development and distribution of this information are not responsible for any adverse effects or consequences of any kind resulting from the use or misuse of any suggestions or procedures described on our website or Earthshift Live radio talk show or therein.